Alright, this is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men and Milk. Edward Anderson. Come up in here. What's up? I actually need to cut my hair, but whatever. What is up? She hate me. You know, make sure y'all share this. Yeah, what is up? I still got that that Priscilla and like 2 or 3 more people to do with that other stream, and then that'll be a good little playlist. And then I'll get to Marty when I get to Marty, and it's actually somebody reached out to me. I need to get out to them, so I may be doing an interview, which is another reason I need to get my hair cut. Whew. And by the way, I'm really thinking, I honestly still got to see Sinners. I know people be talking shit, but whatever. I still got to see Sinners. You got F1. I'm probably seriously thinking about seeing. You know, I know Damn Andrew's been talking shit, but I'll probably see it for Brad Pitt, and he just happened to be in there. Which I ain't gonna hate. But it's funny how, I mean, you don't need the, it's funny how, I don't know why dudes do that fake defending black women bullshit, because that shit never plays well. I mean, again, you know, oh man, he's female identified, like, anyway. But a lot of that is that tribal bullshit. Now, I bet you won't see Damn to Interest say nothing about all these sisters mad about this damn Essence, black women mad at Essence Festival. I bet you won't hear him comment on that. He'll keep his mouth shut on that. But you got that. I mean, I've heard good things about the Superman movie. So it's a couple of movies I actually need to go see. And like I said, I need to go ahead and pop out Sinners as well. I mean, you know, I'll probably definitely buy it on like do what I normally don't do and actually buy it on which is still money going to the folks. So anyway, while y'all are in here, make sure y'all get the likes up. Let me jump right up in here. Y'all see the title, you know what's serious when I title the video. You know, I actually had a good conversation today with a chick from the UK. Honestly, like, actually interesting. Accent, all that still in there. Black chick from the UK. I mean, I should do a formal video on the Joy Taylor situation. I mean, you know, you got Ticket doing a video on it, giving his take on it. Jada Black, you know, I've seen Jada Black's video. I mean, it's something to talk about, but it really ain't nothing significant. I mean, we pretty much knew she was out the door, because we knew she was out the door when they first kind of suspended but didn't suspend her. They kind of quietly just took her off the air. Then they said that they're not renewing her contract. Then they pretty much each level, I think they tried to see what the backlash was going to be, because they're so petrified of holding women accountable and being seen as being heavy-handed with women. So I guess they was testing out what the backlash, which I don't get where the backlash will come from. I mean, FS1 is that your audience is men. Your audience isn't really women like that. So why would you care? but that's probably the greater network, Fox network. I don't know, because Fox in general caters to men more than other TV networks do, because with a variety of their, programming, but whatever, with white men, especially, so whatever. But I mean, it's not news. It's not news. At the end of the day, at the end of the day, Joy Taylor is a toxic female. She's a toxic female. I mean, she is the definition of a hoe. She's not a whore. She's not a slut. Because Joy Taylor believes in getting paid or getting rewarded for sex. And I probably believe she's always been that way. She's always been that way. And she's a perfect example of this idea that women are naive. They're not naive. And by the way, on another news, I knew she was cooked. When they got rid of the white dude that she slept with to get her position, I knew she was cooked then. And again, some of the stuff that she says when it comes to again, she said the same old rhetoric. Basically, I'm not at fault. It's all men's fault. Even though the only reason why Joy Taylor actually had a job and had a career is because of her looks. That's it. It has nothing to do with her ability to commentate on sports. It has nothing to do. I mean, she was on radio, but who knows who she slept with just to get there. I mean, obviously her brother is NFL, so she has certain a name out there because of that. Once again, not married, or she was married, couldn't stay married. I don't think she doesn't have any children. She's just a chick that never grew the fuck up, and she basically ran out her looks, and that's what you see with a lot of these women. And it's but I'll probably do a formal video on that and give my take on that if y'all want that. I really need to start doing more video uploads, like 10-minute, 8-minuters. Really, I really do. Shout out to Dumper. He did a video for a long time, in a minute, talking about Damon Dash and what Damon Dash is going through. And videos with men is important to do too, to call out some of the stuff. It's not about calling it out, but apply the information. But with that being said, of women running their own clocks out, like I said, Cheyenne Bryant, I want to talk about it. I was kind of going in on, shout out to Nate. Nate posted something in the Discord. Y'all should ask for Discord. Y'all know the drill. Comment Discord. I'll give you my email. Ask for the link in the email. You get the link. That's how that works until further notice. It's like that because people like to play. People like to play. I don't know why people like to play with me, but people like to play because they ain't got nothing else better to do, so we got to do it that way. And the Discord is lit. There's always information. Folks are going back and forth on F&O side versus general. So it was actually some interesting conversation, even though I ain't throw my take into it. So yeah. But Nate was talking about how, what he was commenting on what I said about, the gravitational cultural gravity, which is where is the center of gravity with black culture. And unfortunately, the center of gravity with black culture is too much hood redneck stuff. The women, and a lot of that is their form of empowerment and feminism. The women are on some absolute crash out type stuff. And why you talk about the women? Because the women have control of the children. That's the problem. The women influence the girls influence the boys, because boys are trying to get sex from the women, and the women are get primary custody of the children, whether a man wants custody or not. A woman has to damn near be in jail, dead, or like a known crackhead, and a man demands full custody for him to even get full custody. Even then, that's not always the case. And so that's why that's important. A lot of people don't understand that, because unfortunately the black community, black men, as well as black people in general, they have this individual, black people do not have a collective responsibility. Like, if I were to do a ratio between individual responsibility for your own stuff versus responsibility of maintaining a certain social cohesion, that's just something that's not taught in black households, that you have a responsibility to kind of maintain the culture. And that's not, even if like, let's say you're a hip-hop head. Let's just to get to something that's like, not like so serious. Let's say you're a hip hop head. It should be your responsibility. If you are a true hip hop fan, you don't have to do this. But I'm like, if you're a true fan, if you're somebody of influence, it should be, if you really consider yourself real, you should think it's your responsibility to have a certain understanding of hip hop history. Like what Tariq talks about and stuff like that. If for nothing else, that people might try to come around and take your shit. They'll try to retell, reimagine history, remake history, rewrite history. And if you and their ability to do that will be a lot stronger if you're ignorant. So there should be a certain level. I mean, I can't stand academics, but academics does this to an extent. You should have a certain understanding of it when you're younger, in order to, like, what came before you. It ain't gotten, that's a steward, being a good steward of whatever you're passionate about culturally. You can still like what you like, but a big reason why hip hop is degraded is because you got a lot of people that a big reason why the culture is degraded, because you just have a lot of people that want to reset the clock, and they never want to really understand context. And people have this belief that their opinion matters even when they don't know context of what they're talking about. All opinions are not equal. If you do not, like, for instance, if you don't have a basic understanding of civics, why are you commenting on policy, or why are you commenting on really politics? This is why everybody likes to make everything like a reality show, because they have no context to anything, and they don't care to. They just want. This is why when people say I feel like, because see, what you feel don't have to logically make sense. It does, and I'm going somewhere with this. It doesn't have to be a closed loop. Like a child can feel like. Adults are supposed to operate in logic. Sure, you can be emotional, but adults, whether it's men or women, there is a responsibility to being an adult. Otherwise, you shouldn't be taken seriously, and that's true if you're a man or a woman. But see, what people don't like to talk about is men are always under that microscope, if for nothing else, that people want to deny the truth of what somebody is saying. So it's all these qualifiers that have to happen, that again, women, I don't know, I'm gonna say this and I'll be real clear, I don't know how people think you're supposed to have a society where one gender, whether it's gender or certain racial groups or whatever, but one group can just not be accountable to nothing and still have control over the children. I don't understand that. Like, you see whether it's white people, because let's be clear, white people are not doing that great educationally either. Whether it's white people, black, whatever group, right? And you see the majority of the kids that are being produced, and somehow you have not heard a single conversation, not one. Tell me, press 2 if I'm lying. What conversation have you heard about bad motherhood? What conversation has there been about, okay, maybe the mothers are just trash and not doing their job? Nobody says that. Now, I know why they don't say that. They don't say that because it's not profitable to say that. And that's why I always tell you all about economic mind control, because people are not going to put stuff on public airwaves generally. Like, I'm talking about public airwaves, if it's not profitable. And the only time they will say something quote unquote negative, which is usually on the men, is if they're trying to attract eyeballs by shock value. But other than that, it doesn't matter. Mother, like, we know who has custody of most of these kids. The mother is the common denominator. But yet men are afraid to have that conversation. Nobody wants to have a conversation, even though clearly, and it's not just on the mothers, the social engineering in the educational system is a problem as well. Which is something else they don't really talk about like that. So, I mean, it's kind of like niggas want to change shit, but niggas don't want to change. But niggas want something different, but don't want to do nothing different. And then everybody is just on this, you know, how did we get here tip? How did we, you know, what, like they want to talk to a problem, but they're too afraid to even suggest a solution because they even know the solution is either bullshit or half-baked, or they know that, or they don't want to get criticized. And so Nate posted a post. Nate posted a comment in my Discord talking about, I haven't seen this, but he wouldn't post it if he didn't see it. And that they are saying that, by the way, that theme song with F1 is the shit. Just FYI. Like, you want to get motivated? That's some shit to get motivated. But about how they're calling Paul Pierce an incel. And that's hilarious. Because anybody that calls Paul Pierce an incel, you're a fucking loser. And you're just exposing yourself as being a loser. Paul Pierce. Let me give you the cards that Paul Pierce got. Paul Pierce is from Inglewood. And from Inglewood when Inglewood was the Wood. AKA before it got gentrified like a motherfucker. Paul Pierce is well over 6 foot. He played a small forward, so he's got to be at least like 6'5", 6'6". Paul Pierce is married. I believe she's black. She could be a little mixed, but she's black. As Dr. Umar said, you're black. All my mixed sisters, you're black, and she's black. Still married. Pediatrician. Paul Pierce has been on ESPN, only got fired over some dumbass shit, to be honest with you. Not that he did, because they were looking to just offload some people, and he just volunteered with that. Paul Pierce has children. Paul Pierce is an NBA. He is a future Hall of Famer. He has 1 ring, I think 2. When LeBron fucking was in the LeBron era, when LeBron was in his prime, coming into his prime. I know it was a term to describe women, but what incel really means is true forced loneliness. So the fact that he's married, the fact that his wife looks better than 99% of you chicks. To call him and this is why I keep telling y'all, people are just using words. They're just incel is like bitch ass nigga. It's like calling somebody gay. It's just a way of emasculating somebody because you're mad. It has a meaning, but in the context of these conversations, the meaning is never used properly. And that's how you know you got a whole bunch of losers on social media that essentially when they're mad and they don't have nothing to say, they just start name calling. This is why I tell you all to not just throw names, don't just throw words out there unless it makes sense, unless you mean it. Like, people have a very bad habit, it's not just black people have a very bad habit of throwing names and name calling when they're upset. A lot of y'all are too old for that. And y'all lost the argument. But most of these people, it's really just about how you feel and not actually making sense. So making sense just becomes, I'll make sense if it's convenient, but if it's not, I'm just gonna be in my fifis. Paul Pierce didn't even really come down on her like that. Paul Pierce had a real smooth conversation. And see what a lot of people don't know, this is what a lot of people don't know. If you actually look at the whole interview, which everybody's not playing the whole interview, Paul Pierce was vulnerable in certain aspects of his own life. So it wasn't like Paul Pierce was just hammering her. Paul Pierce had actually opened up on a couple of things early in the interview, but nobody's playing that part. Because so Paul Pierce wasn't asking anything of her that he did not already demonstrate. That's one of the reasons why he was as comfortable as he was getting, like, really bringing her back to task to get those answers and not letting her shift away. Because in the interview, when you see it, it's like, hold on, you interviewing me, I'm supposed to be you. And this is because previous like 30 minutes Paul Pierce was actually giving her the benefit of the doubt, and then he flipped it on her. But that part of the video nobody saw, because again, You got people that are just out here trying to beat black men on social media, and I gotta be honest. Like a lot of y'all, like a lot of y'all are losers, man. And when I say y'all, I mainly talk about the women when I say this, because you all are trying arguments. This is why I always tell y'all don't go back and forth with women on social media like that. If it's not profitable or beneficial to you to do so, like I'm making content and I'm not going back and forth with, I'm just giving an example. It's an absolute waste of time to do that. You would do better just letting them argue with women that already agree with your position, and you finding women that agree with your position. You would do better doing that, because it's much harder for them, because at the end of the day, they're always going to be like, you're a man, patriarchy, the end, and be justifiable. They can't justify that when it's other women saying a man's position, which is why they get angry about that. You actually will move the needle doing that more, which is why I always tell y'all to do that. And if y'all must do something, screenshot it. Don't give them the benefit of engagement, because a lot of people are saying like stuff just for the purpose of rage bait. That's the purpose. They say stupid stuff just to get engagement and to get a response. This is why I showed you all the money that's in social media content creation, because you got a lot of people that they just say stuff just to be saying it. And yeah, if you want to screenshot it or save the video so you can keep a record, then cool, do that. But engaging with them in their comments, don't give them the benefit. Let that just be women to do all that heavy lifting, so they're in the echo chambers. But them calling Paul Pierce, I mean, again, what did they do with DDG? What did they do with Jonathan Owens? It doesn't matter. The fact that we're getting to the point where in professional players with professional player money are getting looped in. These are losers on the internet doing that. And so my point is, they're looking like, for instance, another thing people shared was this dude with dreads. You know, dude looked like he worked out. You know, got that cutout sleeveless shirt kind of thing. You know, the type of shirt that like football players wear and stuff like that. You know, if they're in practice and stuff, and they're like doing practice or doing like dry runs or like, you know, contactless walkthroughs and stuff. He was talking about, he basically had a caption saying, you know, for Andrew Tate supporters and listeners, and obviously he's black, so you know he's not talking to white people. For Andrew Tate supporters and listeners, you know, they hate women, why don't you just go be gay? Problem solved. And you know, I thought about that for a second, and I asked myself, yo, how many gay men, black, white, or otherwise, gay men don't have the reputation of not liking women? Like, when I say like women, what I mean is, you know what I mean, gay men, misogynists. Even if gay men are saying like crazy stuff, they're never accused of that. Oh, you gay because you hate women. You never hear that, even from black women. You never find them dying. You never hear that. You never hear that. In fact, black women, I might argue, a lot of black women, I'm not ready to say all of them, most of them, but a lot of black, I would argue like at least half, we'll say 40% to start out with, are more comfortable around gay men, gay black men as far as safety. Ask any feminist. Black woman that's a feminist that like to talk about black men are more likely to harm them or abuse them. Ask them. A lot of them will say heterosexual black men. Ask them, are you more comfortable around a heterosexual black man or a gay black man? And then ask them why. They probably can't give you an answer, but because they're clicked up like that. Because again, it's all about undermining the patriarchy, right? But black women are forever with the quickness calling a black man gay, or he hates women because Them telling black men on the DL. Press 1 if y'all can still hear me. Press 1 if y'all can still hear me. All right. So what I was saying is a lot of women be a lot more aware of what the orientation of the dudes that they be dealing with than they like to admit. This is why like they're like a lot of telling themselves that a lot of y'all when it comes to sexuality. And you all are running into that shit a lot too many times for that to constantly be an accident. It's the same thing with dudes that be dealing with T people. Y'all don't be, y'all lying. So I just want to put that out there, but that's kind of, I just do that just to get some of y'all up in here. Okay, y'all ain't here. So now, basically, you know, they were saying what they were saying about Paul Pierce. And look, Paul Pierce has had his time. So at the end of the day, unless you Future or some kind of hood saint, these chicks always got something to say. These chicks always got something to say. With, you know. So, again, they have an issue with black men in general. This is why they always got, it doesn't matter. The way they look at it is you're either male identified or female identified. And if you're male identified, they're going to just make something up. If they can't find something, they'll make it up. This is why you have people that will call Paul Pierce an incel, even though Paul Pierce is still married and married to a chick that looks better than 99% of y'all. All because he made Cheyenne Bryant look bad. And you know, shout out to Fawcett Media. I shared the video where he covered what Joe Budden was covering. I'm sure Corey Hogan is gonna have a field day with this video, especially with a brother like Paul Pierce. It was the one to kind of get her. Oh, you know Corey likes that because Paul Pierce is a down-to-earth brother. So you know. See what to believe what? What are you talking about? See what to believe what? I just Googled it. Paul Pierce is still married. She did make herself look bad. But she made herself look bad because she didn't have answers. I knew it was cooked when Melissa Ford well, there's no such, you can't be an incel and be married. It doesn't work that way. You can't be an incel and have children. The definition of incel is true forced loneliness. By definition, you're not lonely if you're married. So again, these people, incel is like the new bitch ass nigga. It's just something you call men like, you know, team masculine. That's all it is. It doesn't matter. You can have a chick right here with you, and if a chick get mad enough, they'll still say it. Because they don't care. Because if they get mad enough, reason doesn't matter. The paternity fraud situation is proving that. You'll have women out here talking about, well, you know, you still slept with me, so you should have knew we could have got pregnant, as if that has anything to do with the fact if the kid is yours or not. So we already know. That's why I love it. You're getting to the point now where it's starting to be painfully obvious. You know, you can't hide. It's not a lot of shade anymore. It's not a lot of shade anymore. So anyway, going back. So the main part of this video, and I want to get to it because I'm already half an hour in, is what is the real difference between Kevin Samuels and Cheyenne Bryant? So you got all these people looking for the new next. It just goes to show you how much Kevin Samuels really traumatized a lot of these women, because Kevin Samuels has been dead for about 3 years now, 3 years, and somehow, some way, maybe 4, somehow, some way. You got Priscilla was the next Kevin Samuels. Shira 7 was the next Kevin Samuels. Cheyenne Bryant is supposed to be the next Kevin Samuels. Kendra is supposed to be. They're desperately looking for somebody that can, quote unquote, do to men what was done to them. The reality, though, is holding men accountable is not novel. It's not novel. It's not a novelty. Men are held accountable all the time. Men are held accountable all the time. So it's not a novel thing. It's not unique when a black man is quote unquote held accountable. Black men are held accountable every day. It's not news. What Kevin did was news because that's something you usually don't see on a consistent basis. Hence why you're traumatized. Now somebody would say, well, why are you all so mad at Cheyenne Bryant? People are not really mad. It's more so Kevin, women were mad at Kevin because Kevin told the truth that they don't want to accept. Men are annoyed by Cheyenne Bryant because Cheyenne Bryant is pretty much, she's a professor, she has a doctorate in yapology, as somebody said in the comment section. She's just running her mouth. Basically, she's doing a combination of getting a nigga told and you ain't shit and you need to do better. Stop being a dog and actually be a good man. Even though these women are not sleeping with quote unquote good men. And it becomes just like circular, like it's not even logic, but this circular talking point. And the thing with Paul Pierce, well, let me going back to the Kevin versus her, is here's where Cheyenne, I'm gonna be real, this is where Cheyenne messed up. I said this before, I'm gonna say this again, nobody else is saying this but me, by the way. Cheyenne Bryant should have marketed herself as a sex therapist because she would have inoculated a lot of what she's doing in her personal life would not matter as much, and she would have she doesn't have a defense, because let's keep it real. I don't even know if this nigga's real that she's talking about, to be honest with you. And if he is real, she knows if she brings him out, that if she brings him out, she would have brought him out by now. It's not gonna go well for her. And I'm not even saying this dude is whack. I don't even believe that, because he's got to be laying pipe well for her to be, if he's real, for her to be dealing with him as long as she is, he's got to be, if nothing else, laying pipe. It's probably like a Daniel situation from Insecure, where he may have a decent job, but the issue is it's gonna very much look like the Cheyenne Bryant settle. That's the problem. And the women are gonna get upset if they see who this nigga is. He probably looks the part, and he probably can lay pipe well, which is why she probably is dealing with it. Like, I'll tell you right now, and I agree with Tasha K. I don't think she just deals with men. I think she deals with women. I actually think she more deals with women than she does men, actually. But this is the one through line nigga that she's dealing with. His age, all of that. And the fact that he's 33 years old and he's with a 42-year-old, that kind of tells me a lot too. That tells me a lot about him too. Ain't no way her coochie is that good. Because if her coochie was that good, then she would have better suitors. So she should have really labeled herself as a sex therapist, and a relationship like that would make more sense and not be an issue. The grift would have worked a lot better with her presenting as a sex therapist versus her actually trying to present as somebody that has a doctorate for some kind of online school, DeVry, whatever the fuck ever, and then, that type of shit. And then turn around, and then you can't really practice, you can't really diagnose people, but you kind of low-key are. You are diagnosed, you're trying to diagnose these millionaires and try to get them told. Basically, because again, these women get to live vicariously through her. Everything, like, I remember when I saw Jalen Rose's daughter. It's all the same thing. Jalen Rose's daughter, Malika Andrews, it's this thing about, you niggas got way too much power in the dating market. Fuck you niggas. Because these chicks can't have them. Carrie Champion had the same kind of energy. Jamel Hill, even though Jamel Hill is married, they all have the same kind of energy, that these guys have too much leverage. That's why she told Cam, "You not God." These women have no real leverage over these dudes, especially if you don't have kids with them. You have no leverage. The only leverage you really got is to say he did something. Let me get this. Shout out to Christian Hutchinson for the $5. Much appreciated. Christian Hutchinson writes, they want a person to come up and dispute verified data, but they can present data without exposing themselves. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it ain't even with her own situation. Because again, people want to say, well, Kevin ain't married now. Well, Kevin was married twice. So he's already been through the process. Kevin has a daughter. Kevin has a lot of experiences that he could talk about. He talked about his experiences in the ministry when it comes to, pairing people up and stuff. Kevin has, it may not be the most ideal on paper, but he has experiences. And the reality is again, on his show, Kevin wasn't scripted. Kevin had what he wanted to say in the first hour, and in the second hour, he didn't know who was going to come up. Everything that Cheyenne Bryant has done is theater. That's why she always does a lot of yapping. And I know people will say that's rich coming from me, but whatever. She does a lot of yapping because if somebody talks back or is able to she can't have a back and forth dialogue. You notice that? She can't have a back and the way her interviews are weird because she's never interviewed. She always is going on other people's shows and being the MC. If she has her own show, that makes more sense. But she's going on other people's shows and she's interviewing them because they said on Joe Budden's shit. And I don't agree with everything Joe Budden say. She had even Megan Melissa Ford had to say it. She's always having pre-scripted, even with the answer people are asking her about the degree or the doctorate. She has to have a pre-scripted answer. She doesn't want to have a conversation. And that's what a lot of dudes don't like, because basically women are trying to present something that only works in a enclosed ecosystem. This is how the dating market works. These women, nobody comes to America for the women. There's a reason for that. American men can go to other places and get women. American women as a group, and this includes white women too, white women cannot necessarily go to Europe and clean up like that. The average, because they want too much. It's scripted. And so the first time that you had a dude, and here's the thing, she didn't mop Nick Cannon or Cam Newton. Nick Cannon can only do so much because Nick Cannon has a persona, a brand to maintain. And that brand is not, if he goes too hard, he's already gotten in trouble with Griff that he had to strike his way back. So at the end of the day, Nick Cannon does, if Nick Cannon was being honest, he does what he does because he can. That's really what it comes down to it. And the only thing he owes these women is transparency, and he gave them that transparency to empower these women to make a decision on if they wanted to do what he wanted them to do. They did that with eyes wide open. That's all he owes them, and that's really what he should have told her. Well, do you think that is in the home? Let me keep this very clear here. The money that I am going to provide these children is more than what 95% of what most kids will ever is going to get in their childhood. Well, what about time? Well, here's the thing. Nick, let's be real. Nick Cannon is such a hard worker. Even if Nick Cannon was just dealing with, nobody was questioning his relationship with Mariah Carey. Nobody was questioning how late Mariah Carey was in having kids. But the reality is, you think Nick is spending all the time in the world with his kids with Mariah? Nick Cannon does a lot of work hours. I mean, if we really want to play the time game, like that, it's not the same. Like poverty and stuff like that, it is not the same. It's not, and it's being presented as it's the same. as it presented as if it's the same, in order for her to be able to make her point. Which is why Kevin never got into the end. Notice that Kevin always said over and over, I'm not going to get into the ins and outs of celebrities, and I'm not going to get in the ins and outs of entertainers. There was a reason for that. And Cheyenne didn't understand that. But going back to it, Kevin, the most important part I want you to hear this video is this. Kevin focused on what is the outcome that the person that called in wants. Cheyenne does not do that. Cheyenne basically does the you ain't shit, the soft shoe, you ain't shit, and you need to do better, finger wagging bullshit. That's what she does. She does not sit there and think about it. She never in any of these interviews asked Nick Cannon, what do you want out of life? What is your objective with you having these children? Why did you have all these children? What is the agenda? No, she jumped right into the you're wrong for doing this. Now, let's keep it real. You got Arabs, I know it's a little bit different, but you got Arabs that have multiple wives. Arabs that have multiple wives and multiple kids. Bin Laden had, like, some of these motherfuckers are having like 40, 50 kids. You know good and well they can't spend all the time with those kids. It's a different cultural setup. Christian Hutchinson said these single moms aren't home. They're not. And the reason why this society, the reason why this society is where it is because of the single moms. It's not because of the men out here. These women do not have to have kids with dudes before marriage. They choose to do that. None of them women had to take that deal with Nick Cannon. They chose to do that. Same thing with Cam Newton. Cam Newton deals with all his kids. Because that's not really what the real issue is. The real issue is what Cheyenne is really doing when she communicates. It's about leverage. These women are not... Cam can do what the fuck he wants. Because he has the genetic currency, the economic currency, still to a certain extent the social currency. To do... That's Jasmine. Jasmine can complain, but Cam Newton is the best Jasmine Brown is going to do. She knows that. Let's cut the bullshit. Preferably a Cam that's not in the league, and Cam is still out here. Let's cut the bullshit. So she puts up with it, but she gets mad because she gets mad. It's just like, you know, these women want to talk about Ashanti and Nelly. Talk about because Nelly don't want to change diapers. Nelly is a grandfather. Nelly gave her a gift by giving her a child. Nelly blessed Ashanti with giving her a child, as well as marrying her and making her an honest woman after Ashanti came from Dubai. And let's keep it real. I know they fucked with Ashanti's career, so I'm a little bit more empathetic to Ashanti. If anybody, I'm kind of cool with getting a reach back. I'm going to say it's Ashanti. And then Nelly already did kind of what he wanted to do anyway and was ready to kind of settle down anyway. So that situation, that's one of the few situations where the paperwork is going to be signed off on. If you know the history of their relationship, yeah, you know, Nelly ain't really giving nothing up. So it's, yeah. But that being said, if Nelly wouldn't have accepted her back, Irv Gotti was waiting. And she was very clear that she did not want to deal with no fucking Irv Gotti. Ashanti, R.I.P. Irv Gotti. Shout out to J-Bay for the $5. I mean, $10. Appreciate it. Make sure y'all hit up the Cash App as well. Appreciate y'all. By the way, shout out to Coco Jones on being engaged to Donovan Mitchell, and shout out to Normani. I forget who she's engaged to, but she's engaged to a brother as well. I think it's a football player or something. Shout out to both of those situations. Ain't no hate over here. So at the end of the day, Kevin focused on what outcome do you want. He did the same thing for men and for women. What outcome do you want? And he would, like any coach, because that's what real life coaches do, by the way. They ask you, what are you looking to do? Whether it's generate more leads, more sales, whatever. What have you done? What are you looking to do? And then we talk about where the gap is and why based on the situation. That's what Kevin was doing. That's why Kevin would ask them to rate themselves. See, women always, people never talk about that. Kevin never rated them. He would tell them to rate themselves, and he would say if that's real or that's delusional. Because if you're delusional, you're never going to, like, take Simone Biles, for example. As accomplished as Simone Biles was, at the end of the day, man, Simone Biles is still like a 4'11" small little thing, man. Simone Biles is not ugly at all, but Simone Biles is not no fucking Vanessa Williams either. Simone Biles can't just be a bitch out here and say, look, I got gold medals. Because niggas don't give a fuck. Ultimately, like, when it comes to a relationship, that shit ain't gonna mean shit in the grand scheme of things. It really ain't. Not in the context of a relationship. What does that have to do with an actual relationship? Especially, and then what she asked a 26-year-old, NFL player to basically come off of the prime of his life to be married. Now, I will say this. It does in Jonathan Owens' field. Being with Simone Biles absolutely benefits him from a marketing standpoint, branding standpoint. There are going to be people that are going to look at him, especially at the level he is, because he's a mid-level corner. He is a starter, so let's keep it real. That wouldn't otherwise look at him because he's connected to her. So yeah, I'm not going to act like that's not value in the field he is in. But that doesn't apply to everybody else. But that definitely can't help it. But Simone had the presence of mind. Kudos to her as well as the people that raised her. She had the presence of mind to understand that if she wanted what she wanted, she had to go at it at a certain way. And a lot of women can actually learn a lot from Simone Biles. And Simone Biles, again, she was with that Brazilian dude that didn't work out. She was talking about she liked Zac Efron. She got a light-skinned nigga, 6 foot in the corner. So she got pretty much everything she could have wanted. Real talk. Pretty much. Yet people talking about she settled. Which is something that Jeff, the therapist, was saying. A lot of women don't understand a man's value in relationship to theirs in the marketplace. Meaning, it's not because women are competing with men in the marketplace, saying, how am I better than him? No, that's not the real question. The real question is, can he get you look-wise? Because really, he's a millionaire without her. Can he get you? And then somebody relatively at the level. Nobody's really at Simone Biles' level with that like that, so it's a little bit different. But can he get you? Can he get another you? Looks-wise, Jonathan Owens absolutely could. Now, as far as gold medals that can help him in that way, probably not. But then again, how much do you value that when you can make your own money? Christian Hutchinson said Jonathan Owens gets 2 extra seasons and training camp invite due to his wife. Basically, on his way out the league, people will give him a look or let him ride the bench for a break glass situation. Absolutely. You mean when he's on his way out? Absolutely. So yeah, I'm not gonna act like that. That situation does have benefits to him. But everybody she would have got locked arms with wouldn't have necessarily translated like that. Because if it was an NFL player, if it would have been another Olympian, well, it's either you're doing it or you're not. You being on there don't matter. NBA player, probably, yeah, it would have been the same benefit. And so, again, it's this idea, Simone did what was supposed to be done. Coco Jones did. These are black women that are supposed to be paired out. These dudes ain't supposed to be running. As many of these dudes are not supposed to be with thoughts. But anyway, the point is, Kevin looked at what are the outcomes that you want and then tell you where you are in relation to those outcomes based on the information you give him. So he has to give you a real time. That's why some people came back twice, because he has to give you a real time assessment based on what you tell him and based on what he observes about you in real time. Ain't nobody fucking doing that. Kendra ain't doing that. Kendra is low-key telling you what you want to hear, because Kendra is still politicking, Kendra D. Which is why Kendra got so mad when she came up to Kevin. Because, see, because it's the same thing with Paul and Cheyenne Bryant. Like, you could, like, real talk, you can almost look at the interview that happened between Kevin and Kendra D, and then what happened between Cheyenne Bryant and Merritt. Technically, Paul Pierce was a lot smoother about it. But the thing about it is, Kendra D expected Kevin to lie, because this is before everybody knew what Kevin was about. She expected what she expected Kevin to do is what Kevin did with Nicki Minaj. That's what Kendra D expected Kevin to do. Here's the difference. Nicki Minaj, if you look at who Nicki Minaj was with Safari, somebody that you could say makes more money than, she could do better than him as far as status, but she was with him for a long time. And Safari gave her value. I'm not gonna act like he didn't. Loyalty, he ghost wrote for her. There was things Safari did, but in grand scheme of things, he was in a support role. And look at who she with now, regardless of his history. And Nicki Minaj is a very hard worker. We can say a lot about her, and we can say Nicki Minaj did the kind of... Nicki Minaj really didn't act like... Nicki Minaj was not a hoe in the industry, and Nicki Minaj did not start at OnlyFans. She ain't gone out like that. And yet, look at who Nicki Minaj is with. Like, the highest person she got with... She could have got with Drake, but she knew what Drake was about, so she didn't want to deal with that. Same reason Rihanna didn't want to deal with Drake. Also, I don't think they like him like that. I think they personally think Drake is lame. I hate to say that, but yeah, that's probably what that is too. And so the point is, if you look at the only person that Kevin gave any kind of real levity, that's ironically the person that was probably kind of lived a lot of the advice that Kevin talked about. And if it's good enough for Nicki Minaj, it's good enough for you chicks, because Nicki Minaj looks better than a lot of you chicks. I meant Kendra, yeah, my bad, Kendra G. Y'all know who the fuck I'm talking about. That's why I say Crimson Cure. Kendra G, you know who the fuck I'm talking about. So when you do this interview and you talking to these women, she does it like a radio host. Like, you ain't really supposed to get into the nitty gritty. That's why her show is a joke. Like, hey, people watch it. I'm not gonna hate people watch it and comment on it. So in that way, as a income vehicle, okay, it's relatively successful. I'm not gonna act like it ain't. I'm not gonna act like that show, because honestly, Kendra has like, I think 500,000 like followers on Facebook. So from a income vehicle, it's successful. But from a realistic standpoint, it's a joke. You be letting the type of chicks you let get on your show, you would never let dudes anywhere near like that. Because when a couple of times a dude has gotten on her show that's kind of like the women, she always goes off. But the women, you just let, and it's like you don't, the thing about it is, these women are making black women look bad. And you just act like these women be devaluing all of y'all. And you just act like, well, you know, they asking what they asking. They look fool. White women would never let white women do this shit. Because white women would check that shit. Because you're fucking the brand up. Well, technically, Drake didn't choose Meek over Drake in the beef. She just was never going to deal with Drake anyway. So it wasn't an either or. I'm not going to frame it that way. It wasn't either or. Because she never officially supported Meek in that beef. Which tells you a lot. Sometimes bitches don't be liking chicks. Dudes, it is what it is. I mean, if you look at the type of motherfuckers Drake be dealing with, it's obvious Drake, come on, man. Drake ain't really dealing with black girls for real like that. Not like that. She didn't use Meek. I didn't say she used Meek. She just, again, she didn't use Meek. I ain't saying all that. They had a relationship. I mean, Meek just got too much of a chip on his shoulder. That's Meek's issue. And I think it is what it is. I think y'all being a little bit binary about that. I ain't gonna lie, that chip is a Philly thing to me. Y'all can disagree. But Kevin focused on outcomes. Kevin focused on where you were, where you wanted to go. And the advice he gave was way more genuine because see, women received it. Women received it a certain way because women want to be lied to. And Kevin, because that's why the fuck do y'all think, as much as people want to talk shit about Kevin, why the fuck do y'all think they kept coming to Kevin? They kept coming to Kevin because Kevin was the only motherfucker that was gonna tell them the truth. So they can gauge Kevin, so at least Kevin gives them a baseline, whether they like it or not, and then they can compare and contrast with. Ain't nobody else telling them the truth. That's why they came to Kevin. Now, when you compare that to how Cheyenne Bryant does what she does, Cheyenne Bryant, the only reason why Cheyenne Bryant is special is because she goes on, it's these celebrities. So essentially, she's dealing with these celebrities or people that's in still the celebrity level, and she's getting them told. It's a completely different reason. Why the fuck are you pushing a stroller that don't got a baby on it? Like, is that, what the fuck? Is that me? Man, these white women, man. No, I wouldn't say they're her ceiling. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. No, y'all think I'm lying. I wish I could show you. No, this white chick literally has a stroller she is pushing, and it ain't got nothing in it. And it's not even a cheap stroller. No, it ain't got nothing in it. But anyway, versus what Cheyenne Bryant does is she gets niggas told, and you basically take it, waiting to exhale, thin line between love and hate, bitch babble, and you're trying to focus it through it there. This is why even Tasha K she was getting on Tasha K nerves, because it's bullshit. It's straight up bullshit. And then and what's happening is you're catching these dudes off guard. That wasn't gonna keep working. You're catching these dudes off guard because how forceful you are with it, and they could check you. Because at the end of the day, you a 42-year-old chick with a catheter, like you had a what is it, IUD? Did you just, like, this is her words. That's why I like some of the shit she lying. I'm sure she's lying. Talk about, I just took my IUD out, now I'm ready to get pregnant at 42. That's a delusion. That's a delusion. And you've been with a dude since he was 28 years old, and he's 33 years old, and you want to talk about he's emotionally immature. Remember, this is a late-term millennial. This is well, he ain't that much younger than me. He's like in the beginning of the end of the millennials. Like, yeah, he's like right on the edge. And then you talking about even like, listen to Melissa Ford's reaction. Even Melissa Ford could not justify nothing she was saying. And it was funny because Melissa said in that Foster meeting, Melissa said her friend said she can't even fuck with Cheyenne Bryant no more after that shit. And so Melissa was like, all right, well, my friend is telling me, how bad can it be? And Melissa was like, damn. So this is why you see women trying to say, well, Kevin did it. No. Kevin was actually trying to help folks. And Kevin did the same thing with men too. But with Cheyenne, You don't really see Cheyenne really checking women like that. You would never see Cheyenne interviewing like Brittany Renner talking that bullshit. Because all it takes is for a bitch to call her out, and then she really gonna look stupid. Cheyenne Bryant wears a lot of Cheyenne Bryant dresses. Look, man, the way Cheyenne, you gotta remember, she doesn't have children. And for the most part, she hasn't been pregnant. So Cheyenne Bryant, how she looks, you think about, like, man, look, this is all I tell the nigga that's 33 years old. If you are real and you still fucking her, this is all I got to say. Nigga, you been fucking that bitch for 5 years. And I hate to say this, and this is gonna sound bad. Sorry, I don't mean to call women bitches. It's Chicago and me, man. So you gotta excuse me. You been fucking that bitch for 5 years, and you still not tired of that pussy. So you mean to tell me you been fucking from 37 to 42-year-old pussy, other dicks done been in it? She ain't that attractive. Cheyenne Bryant, she ain't that, I remember what she looked like. Type in Zoe What morning show. Type in the Zoe What show. Cheyenne Bryant. And you will see what Cheyenne Bryant looks when she was a lot smaller. I know what Cheyenne Bryant looks like when she was 32 years old. Cheyenne Bryant has been around for like 10, 12 years. She has been around. I know what she looks like. Cheyenne Bryant has gotten bigger. And what she does, I said it before, I'm going to say it again, she wears tight clothes. In order, remember, Kevin was like 10 years older than her too. So Kevin had a lot more experience. Cheyenne Bryant ain't even really done being outside yet. That's why that look goofy, because when you see a 42-year-old out here playing a field, and then she said, the biggest thing she said was, I would rather be walking the dog than being on a leash. To me, that's it. That's the end of the conversation. That's the end of the conversation. That's exactly what SWP was saying about not wanting to be in the passenger seat. And that actually also exposes why she's dating a dude 10 years younger than her. Because you could never walk the leash. You don't have enough to walk the leash of somebody relative to your age. Because they're going to have an agenda, and they're going to look at, okay, where you are in line to that agenda. Or they're going to be somebody you ain't trying to deal with for real, because other than dick, you ain't really getting nothing out of them. And that ain't going to change. I don't know if she's finished, because you got a lot of people that's go goofies out there. But at the end of the day, the problem, you know, and look, she's supposed to have her own show. I think that's a mistake, because I think her own show, she's got to provide content for her show on a constant basis, and that gives her more openings for her shit to be full of shit. Because trust and believe, when you're bringing somebody on your show, when you're bringing a guest on your show, if somebody is hot like that, they're gonna, no matter how they act, they can get on. You think Brandon Jamal can't get on other shows if he really wanted to? If you got the social media and attract, it's not the same thing. The burden is not on you to, you know, when you're interviewing somebody, you're always auditioning for the next interview. You're always auditioning for the next interview when you're interviewing somebody. That's not true when you're in the guest chair. When you're in a guest, I mean, look at how goofy Brittany Renner has acted. Brittany Renner, was jumping up, and Brittany Renner threw water on somebody. Brittany Renner was jumping up and down with Charleston White on the show. I guess he was a guest on too. If you hot like that, if you can generate social media attraction, people got to fill up space. Now, they may not fly you out. They may make you pay your way to come over here. You may get certain benefits depending on how much they want you on here, and how much traffic you can generate. Because you got to remember, man, if it's 1,000, so that's different. Look at this, you know, look at the dude, the therapist dude. Like, when you hot and you like that, it's not the same. So if she brings dudes on her stuff, first of all, this is what's gonna happen. She's gonna have women on there to basically, so they can all agree, and then she'll have dudes on there from time to time. But the problem is when you bring dudes, and I could definitely see her trying to, I forget what the dude's name. He's always wilding out, the football player. Like, she gonna have certain people on there, but here's the thing, they don't have to worry about how they talking to you. But then she'll probably edit that stuff out to make her look bad. No, Cheyenne Bryant is 42 years old. Melissa Ford is like 49. Well, the problem with Hello Future, right, dude, that's not gonna be a compound. Now I will say that she would probably make a good guess for him, but he'll probably tell her straight up, "You're not flipping that shit on me." Cause you notice how she ain't had shit to say to Ace Metaphor. She would platform Derrick Jackson. Here's the problem though, Christian. Could you imagine her platforming Derrick? First of all, she need Derrick Jackson more than Derrick Jackson need her. That's number one. Number two, Derrick Jackson has an ego. Derrick Jackson ain't gonna want no bitch talking down to her, especially no 42-year-old bitch that he could easily fuck. Derrick Jackson got an ego, and you can tell with how he handled his ex-wife or his wife when they first had that kind of talk. Cooley, it wouldn't work with Cooley because Cooley is married. What's she gonna say to Cooley? If you play the race argument, doesn't work with her. The race argument is not gonna work. Because because number one, that's not a part of her rhetoric. So if you say, it's like, bitch, I'm married with my wife. My wife has a kid. Because in her eyes, Cooley's doing what you're supposed to do. It's just the race is the wrong race. So you look stupid. It's like, bitch, you're not even married. We don't know if you fuck men, women. You got a magical nigga. Y'all see who the fuck I'm fucking with, and I gotta take that criticism. But what you can't say is that I'm not transparent and that I have not been. Because he goes in his old videos saying I've always been honest. Y'all just caught on. I gotta see what Cooley is saying about this. Because, yeah, I'll be curious. So she couldn't really see. Yeah, Antonio Brown. But see, Antonio Brown might go left. Antonio Brown is like, motherfucker, I'm me for good, bad, ugly, for better, for worse, for good, bad, and ugly. They know what they get, and they know who I am. They know what I'm about. Antonio Brown is unapologetic because I saw somewhat of an interview with Young Miami. And again, a lot of these women, they don't care. They don't care. If they like you and they like the situation around you socially, they don't give a fuck. They don't want good men. They want good men once they ain't got no sexual marketplace value left. So a good man is like a third string quarterback. You're not trying to win at that point. Shout out to Blessed Man for the $10 cash out. Cooley wouldn't. Cheyenne, I'm not sure, but I wouldn't think Cheyenne would talk to Cooley because Cooley know too much. Cooley know too many questions to ask. She don't like talking to dudes that really kind of know how to really work this social. She likes talking to dudes that come from mainstream media because they're a little bit too skittish on really asking her real questions. That was a mistake with Paul Pierce. Trust and believe, she ain't gonna put her in that position. She ain't gonna put herself in that position again. She is not gonna put herself in that position again. She is not talking to anybody from LA, and she ain't talking to anybody that she even thinks is capable. And even Melissa Ford said that you didn't check before you got on his show what his show was about, which is code for you didn't vet his shit. Yeah, but she can interview men from the Panosphere, but those are going to be dry vanilla interviews. Because what are they going to talk about? What men ain't doing? And the thing about it is, the elephant in the room is you got a dude that pretty much want to commit to you supposedly. This is your word. And you playing because he ain't emotionally mature enough, bitch, you 45. You ain't going nowhere. As she low-key said, you basically about to trap the nigga. You pulled your IUD out. Why did you pull your IUD out? She was like, yeah, because I'm looking to get pregnant. That's this year, because you 42. Oh, you manifest. She knew what he meant. She knew what he meant. She knew what he was saying. She fucked up. So you about to trap that nigga. What did I fucking tell you niggas about niggas that got bitches that are 10 years older than them pregnant? I told you about that shit. Told you about that shit. She generally does not put herself in positions. That's part of frustration. You could tell that she doesn't really put herself in positions. Like, could you imagine if she talked to a nigga like Charleston Wright? Charleston Wright ain't doing none of that shit she talking about. But like, she ain't gonna talk to bold dudes that don't give a fuck. She talks to people that are worried about angering a female audience, because that's what gives her room to basically do what she does. Like I said, she caught Cam off guard. That's why Cam got mad at his friend that put her on. And then Nick Cannon was like just on some other shit. But even Nick Cannon was asking certain questions. Nick Cannon just didn't force her to answer, like, because Nick Cannon did ask her questions. But Nick Cannon, like, he did ask her questions, but Nick Cannon didn't force her, box her in like Paul Pierce did. Because Paul Pierce ain't on TV no more. Paul Pierce don't give a fuck. Paul Pierce don't give a fuck if women don't watch his shit. Not like that. Not to the point where he gonna be tailored like that. I know to the Z did a video on the pregnancy part that she talked about. But going back to the Kevin Samuels thing, that's the biggest difference. The biggest difference is Kevin was outcome based, meaning Kevin's asking you, what outcomes do you want? What is your situation? How do you rate yourself? How do you rate yourself was for saying, where do you line up in the sexual marketplace? And what other assets do you have other than what you would rate yourself? You know, what other qualities? And you know, how did you get to this point? AKA, do you have kids? Were you married? Blah, blah, blah. And he used that to give you an assessment, which a lot of what Kevin said was based on common sense, but there was a little bit of stuff he added into it. That's not like Kendra G is basically doing the fast food restaurant. What do you want? Are you sure you can get that? Okay, we'll see. That's what she does. She doesn't really, unless she gets upset and angry because these women are playing in her face, so she just gets tired of it, like on some Rebecca Lynn Pope type shit. That's when she'll check one of these women once in a while. But that's why people keep on covering her show, because the show's a joke. Because truth be told, I'm trying to think of who's in the worst position: Cheyenne Bryant or Kendra G. Yeah, and honestly, there's plenty of white people for Pearl to talk about. So why would you go out of way and talk about somebody like that? Honestly, Pearl generates enough clicks on her own to need to do that. And she ain't really scared of the racist tag. It really don't matter, because the more black people call her racist, the more that gives her credibility amongst a lot of white people. So I mean, that racist tag doesn't really hurt her. She don't, like, again, everybody keeps thinking like she needs black men. It ain't even about calling nobody a loser. The lesson here is the lesson. Like, to be honest with you, this is what I think is most likely gonna happen with Cheyenne. Assuming that she's actually with this 33-year-old, what's gonna happen is if she don't get a baby, put a baby on this nigga, which is look like what she's looking to do. If she don't put a baby on this nigga's gonna get 35, 36, and he's gonna wake the fuck up because eventually he's gonna get tired of fucking her. Eventually, that emotional shit, that's some little boy shit. If this situation is how she describes it, that's some little boy shit. That nigga clearly has a mommy complex. And here's another thing too, depending on what this nigga is on, another chick her age may slide through and offer a better deal. Because you gotta think, if you get a 37-year-old, if you that type of dude, and you get a 37-year-old that comes around that's comparable to her, why would you stay with her? And a lot of these dudes, again, this market is, you think these women don't, you know, these women don't give a damn about taking men from other women. It's crazy. That's why it's like, again, it ain't exactly how, because if the way she says it, she's fucking all these dudes. Basically, you got a like you having a roster at 42. There's no way you got a roster at 42 unless you, like what somebody said earlier, you paying somebody. Ain't nobody putting that kind of upfront investment. Like if you fucking a 42-year-old, if you're in your 30s, I don't care if you're 38. If you fucking a 42-year-old, that's the best you can do. You might as well go ahead and buy pussy and stop playing. Stop playing. Not a single one. Because her show was never built to produce marriages. That wasn't what her show was about. And that's why Kevin low-key did her the way he did her when he talked to her. I think Kevin was aware of who she was. And she tried to put on that smile and everything, and she got mad as fuck because she played herself. That's why the next 2 days, she was talking about, well, he's all this shit, but you still went on that show, though. Ain't nobody make you go on that damn show. You still went on that show. Just like apparently Crystal and Carrison did a response to why don't men approach women no more. And she's saying a lot of manosphere talking points. I'm 38. I'm not talking about you. I'm 38. My thing is, if you fucking 42-year-olds and that's the best you could do, you might as well buy it. I wish the nigga would, oh man, you pay for pussy. Nigga, you fucking old bitches. You only doing that because you know the older these hoes get, the easier they are to deal with. Desperate. Fuck what they talking about. They can talk about they got these standards all they want to. They better pay for it themselves. Yeah, it's like, I know that has to be bad. You're sitting here doing all these, like saying all our talk. I saw like a headline of it, but I haven't watched it because I told you I can't stand Karen's voice. I'm not just saying that. Like, I don't care if she said everything I want to hear. Like, BGS is gonna have to cover that shit, and then I had to hear it with BGS like speaking kind of over it. I mean, we not saying this because we mad. We telling the honest to God truth. Hey, you be surprised, man. I don't like that Valley Girl shit. Because a lot of these chicks, when they got that Valley Girl voice, they get real nasally. Nasally, and then you trying to sound like a white girl. Cynthia G low-key sound like that too, but it's not Valley Girl. Man, Crystal and Carrison's like 50 years old, yo. And the thing about Carrison is she knew all this shit. She knew we weren't full of shit. She knew most of the shit we were saying was real. Now she just gotta admit it. Y'all on this clubhouse saying the same bullshit we saying, but you talk about we hate women and all that shit. Wow. Shout out to Christian again. And these older chicks be unleashing these dudes back on the dating market that causes issues. A dude been messing with a 45-year-old. Now he deals with a woman his age. Then say these dudes have them crazy. Yeah, because of the emotional manipulation that a lot of these women do in order to control these dudes. That's why I keep saying a lot of you dudes really need to not, like, especially younger dudes. If you're in your 20s, you do not need to be fucking no chick in her 40s, man. I don't give a fuck. Pussy ain't pussy. Y'all really need to stop doing that shit, because a lot, especially black men, you niggas are not y'all don't have control. Y'all gonna end up like Anakin Skywalker. I'm telling you, a lot of you niggas is that Anakin Padme dynamic. Y'all got that Anakin Skywalker syndrome. I'm dead ass, man. You think I'm playing? Man, I don't believe that. And by the way, any black, I don't believe when black women say they're engaged, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Most of the time when black women say they're engaged, especially if they're doing content, but if black women say they're engaged, I don't believe that. Black women try to say they're engaged. They think being engaged, oh, I was engaged a couple of times. Like, you notice how a lot of black women like to say they were engaged? Engagement does not count if you weren't married. If you're not married, you don't get to tell me you was engaged 3 times and you weren't married. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Bitch, you weren't engaged. You were playing. You were playing. Well, you were playing with yourself. I don't want to hear that. I don't. But when black women say it, it don't matter, because we know how black women view marriage. So when black women be on this, I was engaged. No, that's a marketing thing. That's a way for, that's like them buying their own car and buying a like an old car that's like a high value car in order to get another nigga to do more. It's a tactic. That's not real. Yeah. I don't believe in that. That's why you got women, like, think about it. Nina, what's her name? There was with Ime Adoka. She was in Friday. You know what I'm talking about. Nia Long. She was engaged for like 4 years. That's bullshit. She was engaged with Ime Adoka. Like, they said that she was engaged because if they just say that she's a girlfriend when he has a kid with her, in like the public sphere, where her being high profile because she was an actress, that looks stupid. That sounds stupid in a white context. So they say they're engaged. That's a lie. Fiance, that's a lie. People need to call that out. You know, if you're not married, you were never engaged. No. Ebony K. Williams say she was engaged to a dude for five years. That's not an engagement. They do be thinking being engaged means something. You should start asking them, do you still got the ring from all these? So you were engaged, right? Yeah. You say you were engaged 3 times? Wow. You still got the rings? You still got the rings? Nah, them niggas don't be letting you. So how does that work? How does it work? If he gave you an engagement ring and you ain't engaged, so what's the difference between these? Do they all just take it back the same? Start asking them real questions. Oh, you didn't get an engagement ring? For real? None of the times? Oh man, black men must be broke. Oh, you was dealing with one of a white dude? No, you weren't engaged for real. That's just the shit that y'all say. Exactly, Christian. Engaged to them means exclusive. We're engaged. And it's something that you can easily lie about too. That somebody got to really dig in your business. Most dudes are not going to dig in your business enough to find out you lying. That's all. I'll keep it real. These bitches talk about they engaged. A lot of them be lying. Not all of them, but a lot of them be lying. All these single mothers, like, think of all the single mothers that are around, but they were all these bitches are engaged. Just think about that. Folks be lying their ass off, man. It's been a couple of car movies that come out over the years. You got Rush. You got the one with the Ferrari versus the Ford. Ford versus Ferrari. You got Need for Speed. You got this F1 movie. Shout out to Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, I call that gravity, cultural gravity. And they're actually not pressuring these women to leave their husbands. These women are just they got this. It's called FOMO, fear of missing out. Y'all wonder why men are not getting married, but ain't nobody talking about how easy it is for these women to blow up these marriages. That's the funny part about it. It's so easy to blow these marriages up, but nobody's talking about that. Again, you just expect men to just be like, you know what? All right, we gonna just come back. No engagement should be more than 2 years. More than 18 months is due to something major move, job change, finishing a degree, family member, illness. Yeah, they be playing. Appreciate JD Aesthetic for the $20 cash app. My wife and I were married for $50 at the courthouse. If you want to be married, it takes less than 48 hours and $50. Oh yeah, they all want to be married. Women, like, the truth is, a lot of these chicks only want to be married if there's a lifestyle, like a lifestyle or some kind of wealth transfer involved. Well, the point is, it's not a matter of a time limit on engagement. The reality is, dude, you should not be engaged to a female, for a certain amount of time. You shouldn't be engaged then. So it ain't about time limit. You shouldn't be engaged because you ain't really serious. You keep it in a girlfriend status, and if she want to go somewhere else and do better, she can. Yeah. So a lot of people are kind of exposing that they don't really know what engagement is and what it's for. I'm not like the expert on it myself, but this is why these conversations need to be had. Because what you got a lot of dudes that are kind of going with the flow, and they just not trying to upset the apple cart. So anyway, that's the main thing. I just wanted to point that out. I just wanted to point out the difference that doesn't often get talked about. between Kevin and a lot of these other people to be trying to be anti-Kevin or the pretenders as to what they actually did. Kevin was talking about outcomes and where you need to be to get those outcomes. These other people are essentially just telling you what the fuck you. They basically letting you call into the show and say what you want, and then letting you just sit on that. And Cheyenne Bryant basically does getting a nigga told, and then these women are living vicarious through it. It's basically, it's literally like a similar thing as to what Myron does, but Myron just takes common sense and makes it sound like it's more than what it is, versus Cheyenne Bryant actually lies. And Cheyenne Bryant don't live the life like that's another thing she was trying to say. Oh, when you're 42, you have options. The average bitch that's 42 doesn't have options like that, dude. Not options the way y'all be talking about, based on what y'all be wanting. The average 42-year-old white woman, black woman do not have options like that. I don't know why the fuck y'all lying, man. And then we got to define what options actually means. Because if we talk about fucking a whole bunch of broke ass niggas with mediocre sex, man, yeah, you probably got options, but that ain't what you want. Do you believe that you should settle? No. Okay, so you're on that tier. Cool. So what options do you got when it comes to does not consider you settling? That part. Same bitches talk about they don't want to settle, or the same bitches talk about they got options at 42. Get the fuck out of here. If you date we could date a younger dude. You mean you can open your legs to a younger dude and give him free sex? Or if he's smart, you paying for it. Most of these 92s, y'all paying for it. Unless y'all really attractive like that. If you really attractive like that, he ain't paying you for access. That's the one. Like, y'all are not getting paid to open your legs. Stop lying. You're not. It's not going down like that. And all of that, y'all try to date like dudes, blue collar dudes or whatever dudes. And then y'all like this is why these women got to go back in their own Rolodex. You don't reach, shout out Accountable Commentary. You don't reach back. The reach back is not a move. The reach back is not a play that you run when you're up. The reach back is a play that you run when you're down. A reach back is like a no huddle offense. A reach back is a 2-minute drill in the fourth quarter. That's what a reach back is. Exactly, Vegas. And truth be told, Cheyenne ain't even had kids yet. And Cheyenne look like she has a kid, she's gonna blow the fuck up. Emily K. Williams didn't have options, which is why she had to go. Come on, man. We got to get a real definition of what options are. Hey, black men can do whatever they want. If there's somebody that's willing to marry a 50-year-old, then you truly a fool. She's not ugly, but she ain't so attractive. She ain't like Melissa Ford or some stupid shit like that. Like, she ain't no Melissa Ford at 42 years old. She ain't no Ashanti at 42 years old. And even Ashanti, again, that was Nelly that took her off the market because Nelly had love for her. They had a rapport. Like, that situation makes sense because I know where Nelly was at. But truth be told, Nelly's a grandfather. A lot of people don't know that. Nelly got grandkids. That's why when they sitting there on reality show, they talk about, well, he ain't gonna do no adoption. Nelly is a grandfather. And Nelly said she was gonna get her a nanny. It ain't like, y'all, even though technically if he didn't want to get a nanny and make her do that shit, it is what it is. How you go, I'm like, bitch, you ain't doing nothing. You ain't got no career and shit like that. But even still, he said, I'm going to get you a nanny without her having to ask. Talk about, this is what we be talking about. Man, shut the fuck up. This is what we be talking about. Again, like you got like y'all some a lot of these chicks are some fucking losers, and that's what I'm waiting for. The Black Female Accountability Debate. There's a lot of them. There's a couple more of them. Like y'all some fucking loser ass hoes, man. Oh, you better believe Ashanti signed a prenup. Nelly probably drop her off some shit. Motherfucker, ain't nobody stunting Ashanti for real like that. Ain't nobody stunting Ashanti for real. And she got a kid now. Ain't nobody stunting Ashanti. Ashanti will take her ass back to Dubai and she start doing that. Nelly go ahead, get full custody and pass that kid down to one of his kids. Pass her kid down to one of his kids and pay them to raise it. That's what I do. And those women are dumb. Nelly is the best. Nelly was literally the best case scenario for Ashanti. Who else was going? Did you really want, like, what else? How else was Ashanti gonna go out? Who else was Ashanti gonna get with? Y'all need to tell Carrie Hilson who she need to be like Carrie Hilson. Ashanti got a kid like literally the last shot. Ashanti basically got to go to Dubai, do God knows what, and come back, and Nelly still dealt with her. Luckily, it's in his best interest. Or not his best interest, but it lined up well. What are we talking? Who else was she going? 50 don't spend no money on these shits, according to Cuban Link. So what are we talking about? Like, again, these women are stupid. You're dealing with millionaires that have company. You cannot run those plays. Kevin Samuel, what are you talking about? When did Kevin lie about his age? Kevin never lied about his age. The problem is not the problem with Ebony is she can't keep a kid to term. It's not, she can't carry, that's all that shit she did was so the pregnancy wouldn't miscarry. It's not about getting fertilized, it's about can you carry it to term. That's what these women don't talk about. Just because you can get pregnant don't mean can you stay pregnant. That's the part that they don't talk about when you get these abortions and everything and those hormones and stuff. You run out of eggs and you can't carry shit to term. Yep, progesterone, absolutely. That's what they don't want. See, they don't talk about that. Y'all, like all these feminists talking about sex education, but they not real, but these women are stuck on stupid when it comes to sex education. That's not true. Kevin was 52 years old. I don't know where you heard that from. Kevin, look, cause I knew how old he was. That's not true. That's not true, Dirtbite. That's not true. Kevin had no reason to lie about his age. Kevin wasn't trying to be out, like, think about it. Like, motherfuckers, like, he got Brittany Renner on there, bitches was talking to him. He didn't get, motherfuckers weren't worried about what his age, because truth be told, people are going about what Kevin looked like. That's what people are going by. What does he look like? All right, whatever. You gotta remember, I knew how old Kevin was. I knew how old Kevin was when he was in this space. Cause remember, ARC was like, him and ARC kind of went out at this, with the same age. Yeah, Brock, exactly. Kevin been dead like 4 years, man. What are you talking about? Like, for instance, Tariq Nasheed is 49. Does that make a difference? Corey Holcomb's 49. Jason Black is like 45. It'd be different if you're like in your 30s and you try to, like, if you're a streamer or something. But Kevin was always in the grown and sexy crowd, so it didn't matter. All right, man. I don't know why you getting on this bullshit, man, with these. Now we moving the goalposts and like, dude, like, cause you sitting here, it's like you want to put your foot down on niggas lying about their ages. Jay-Z is fucking married. It don't fucking matter. And Jay-Z didn't alter that in Wikipedia. That's somebody else that did that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Y'all be biting on something like a little bone, and y'all try to make it way more significant than what it is. It wasn't like Kevin was like, well, what are we implying about the age bullshit? Why does that matter? That's what I want to know. Other than motherfuckers niggas was going into his high school looking for something. What actual point does that matter? What does that change? Dirt bike, that's bull, and that's what I'm talking about. So what else do you think he lied about? Because I'm just talking about talking points that were said. That's what the fuck I am talking about. People are looking at that, we're trying to nitpick. It was the same thing with the fucking chemistry shit degree. He had a conversation with the bitch, and what he was saying, he was saying what they can get based on their stuff. So what are we talking about? I told y'all about that ambiguity. Yeah, man, if you lie about this, you'll lie about anything. So fuck 100% of what you talking about. That sounds like somebody that wants to deny reality just to deny it. So what is it that he said that you disagree with? You'll lie about your age. You'll lie about anything. There's not a single thing that you niggas are 100% truthful about. So does that mean you all are fucking liars across the board? Not one. I'll give you a perfect example. I have asked niggas on this chat multiple times in the life of this channel, what percentage of men do you think is 6 feet? You niggas think like damn near 50% of the population is 6 foot and older. 6 feet and taller. That tells me your perception of the world. I'm curious. Like, I'm really trying to understand, because here's why. I'm not trying to jump on you, dirt bike. I'm not, but I'm trying. When even though I take a long way to go around shit, this is why, motherfuckers are better than me, unless I make a video. This is why I share niggas like Charles Rowe, Fawcett Media, Poor Man, because they do a fucking better job of getting to the point. And quite frankly, I personally don't give a fuck. I like getting on this shit, and I like talking the shit that I talk. And then for niggas that better know how to organize it in the fucking way they need to organize it, I share you they shit. That's why I shared that video that Fawcett did, because he got right to the point, and that's why I keep homing in. Even Melissa couldn't defend that shit. There's a point. Even with Cheyenne, I said straight up, if Cheyenne presented herself like a sex therapist, she would really be good, because she's not ugly. She looks decent for her age. Clearly that's why motherfuckers watch her. She would be good. Because she would inoculate herself from this bullshit. That's me helping her out. She should have presented herself like a sex therapist. Because she got that look, the way she dressed, the way she got that kind of high ponytail, the way she presents herself on Ace Metaphor shit, it looks like a black female sex therapist. And I'm not even trying to shit on that. I'm just saying that if she presented her, because you know how black motherfuckers are deviants anyway right now. The reality is she would be able to present well with that, especially as a woman, that will work. So I'm saying that just to let you know, I'm not on some, man, fuck that bitch. I don't like what that bitch say. I don't like everything Tasha K say. I'm gonna tell you another, I don't like everything Tasha K say, but at the end of the day, Tasha K, other than Cardi B, don't necessarily, like, sometimes she do be bullshitting, and I don't listen to Tasha K like that. I'm not telling y'all to listen, but Tasha K don't be just straight up lying. Most of the time. Oh, shout out to Fawcett Media. There was a YouTuber that went to college with Kevin to verify his age. Yeah. Like what I'm asking is what let me see. You said, I'm just saying that if you like, I'm waiting for your comment, Dirtbike, because I'm trying to see, like, straight up, when I explain to you what the bullshit Cheyenne says or FD signifier, I'm giving you examples as to why it matters. I'm not saying, oh, but they lied about it, because the big thing was him and his chemistry degree. That was the thing I heard. And everybody tried to home in on that. The truth is, a lot of dudes that have degrees, like Dunbar and other dudes, Dr. Dunbar and other dudes, listen to Kevin, the mix in his group. And probably one of the biggest things that's probably a regret is that he didn't let non-black women in that bitch. Because it would have been over for you motherfuckers if he would have did that shit. And I'm not saying the answer is to necessarily interracially date, but the problem is black men as a group have to put black women in a situation where it's either compete or get left, get right or get left. And that's true whether you dating black women from the UK or dating women that come here. I actually had a great conversation with a black woman from the UK. Look black, talk, you know, she had her accent. She kind of had Scary Spice kind of accent. You got to make them compete. That's where power comes in for men. Men want to play on their court. So my point in saying all this is Kevin focused on outcomes. I said this before, I said it again. Kevin focused on outcomes, and that's why he could have conversation. And even though it came back to certain themes, he could always immediately adjust based on what somebody was saying. Even if the first couple of questions weren't exactly what he expected, because he's not saying scripted stuff. He's actually trying to help you. That's not what Cheyenne is doing. And her intentions are not good. Her intentions are self-serving, where she's trying to elevate her own profile. That's why she talks to think about it. Kevin talked to regular women. Kevin didn't, for the most part, talk to celebrities. That was only later that you started seeing that. Cheyenne, you ain't heard Cheyenne talk to nobody regular, because the way Cheyenne gonna look at it is, if you ain't making $1 million or you ain't making 6 figures, you ain't shit. That's probably what she really think, even though the nigga she fucking probably don't make 6 figures. The magical nigga, because I'm gonna keep it real with you, I don't believe that nigga's real. I believe she fucking women. I don't believe that shit is real, if you want to ask my personal opinion. Okay, so wait, let's see, Dirtbike. Like, I'm not trying to beat you up, Dirtbike. I'm just saying, it's just saying all people in the media lie about age. Look at Duke Dennis. Everyone thought he was younger. Did he say he was younger, or did they think he was younger? Those are two different things. People are not required to disclose their age. Like, for instance, every once in a while, I'll catch Low Tier God on a stream, right? Low Tier God is like 40 years old. Low Tier God does lie about his age, because I thought he was younger than me, and this nigga like 41, like 40. He lies about his age. Why does that matter? It was one chick, it was a streamer chick, very attractive young woman. I think she's like 26, 27. And she's one of these chicks that may actually go up go up, and she's on the path. She actually can play Call of Duty very well, actually. And she's 27, 26. She liked Low Tier God. And she stood on, kind of like having the posture that I'm having with you. She stood on that he wasn't that, there's no way he's that age. But people were able to kind of prove that he was that age. He was like 40 and long. See, that matters, because now it's like if you date, because he was dating, he wasn't dating her, but he was low-key acting like he might talk to her. See, that's how you get, okay, I can see the controversy kind of there. And I'm not a big fan of dudes, you know, putting the spinning pinwheel, spinny cap on and looking younger and saying they're younger than what they are to date younger women, especially the younger you get, like we start getting in early 20s. I'm not a fan of that. But when people jump on this age thing with Kevin, you gotta remember, they was doing that. They was doing the chemistry. They always trying to do that in order to because they couldn't address anything he was saying directly. So they would talk about everything else. Yo, these bitches be lying like a motherfucker. If we want to get into lies, they be lying they ass off. These chicks be lying they ass off. Anyway, shout out to Fawcett Media for real. Appreciate he come. Always good with her. And by the way, you know, he's at like 112 thousand subs. Make sure y'all check him out, man, because he's probably I like Chizazed too, but when it comes to like covering Corey, Fawcett Media is he's probably like the last real dude that really, because Corey don't like everybody covering him, man. Like, I haven't gotten messed up, but there needs to be a lot more channels to cover him. But Fawcett is probably like the last real channel that that's really covering Corey really strong, that kind of last person standing. There's a couple other people that do too, but he's probably the best. And I already know I'm looking for that video, because I'm not gonna watch, I just don't watch 5150. I just don't. It's a great show. Kudos. I see they got 10,000 people on there. Kudos that he had Mediocre on there. Hopefully you have Fawcett on there one day too. But you know, people like Fawcett allow me to kind of keep in what's going on with the show without necessarily having to watch that shit. And I already know that shit's gonna be fire, because I already know either this week or next week. I think it's gonna be this week. He gonna get her. I already know. So I'll be looking out for that video. So his channel's really good. Swinging in LA. Nobody pissed me off. And I got you, James. It's been a second. 50%. These dudes are starting to go down these rabbit holes of conspiracies. No, I'm not gonna say all that. I mean, I get what Dirtbag is saying. Yeah, she's a social climber. But yeah, Cheyenne, like, and I'm confident on what Cheyenne's age is, because I remember Cheyenne from the Zoe What show. All you got to do is go to Zoe What and type that in the chat. It'll be like 10-year-old video, and she was on there. Cheyenne Bryant Zoe What show was her, Corey, and all of that. That's what Corey was alluding to. And she was like 32 then. That's because Kevin dressed like a grown-ass man. I think, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Kevin never misrepresented how old he really was. I think people try to blow shit up in a proportion, because what they were trying to do is they were trying to, you know, because Jessica Wong, Brittany Renner, and them would go on this shit, they trying to use that as a way of trying to say, because there was some dudes talking about, well, you know, he shouldn't be dating that young and blah, blah, blah. I don't know really about the Do Better podcast. But no, I haven't seen Superman. Yeah, I mean, it's just like, my thing is, I'm not saying, you know, people, but I try to, when I say something, I try to tell you why it matters, because anybody can just say some shit and it may very well be true, but why is it important? And it's not just about, because there's a lot of people that say stuff I don't like. But when I tell you FD, there's a reason why I get particularly annoyed about FD signifier. There's a reason, you know, because I know FD knows the truth, and FD is lying out his teeth, and he tries to act like he's for black people. You can't be for black people and anti-men. Some women will say, well, you can't be anti-woman. I'm not anti-woman. I'm anti-you. I'm anti the behavior you all are exuding. I'm anti-horror culture. I'm anti-feminist. because feminism is not pro-black. There is no room for feminism in a competitive black community. I'm not anti-woman at all. But there's a difference between a woman and a bitch. Those are two different things. And women know that too. Appreciate James Wingate. Yeah, I'm sure. I may watch it, even though I watch it real time. I still like the reviews, but I may watch it just to, because I know he's going to get her, man. I don't think you want to wait, because it's been a couple of days since Paul Pierce did it. And shout out to Paul Pierce, man. I always rooted for him against LeBron. You know, I know those are hard-fought battles. But yeah, man, it's a lot of creators. And I've told, and another thing I'm going to say too, you know, and I'm going to end it here. I've told you all about, like, obviously, if I want to do my own uploads and produce the videos, I could, and I very well may. That's down the road, whatever. But how these things are presented matters, especially for people that go at a higher level, because you already know how they are. They always want to make it like we hate women, we can't stand women. So like I said, Fawcett Media, Poor Man, Charles Rowe does a good job. Chizza Zed does a good job. Chizza Zed is not FBA, but it's not, Poor Man isn't either, but it's not about that. If you're, I only really jump on if you FBA or not is identifying, are we dealing with a coon or are we dealing with some tether shit? You know, like, what are we dealing with? You know, but if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, I'm not on the jealous shit. I'm not. Just like Damson Idris, motherfuckers did not watch Snowfall because Damson Idris was Nigerian until he wanted to talk that shit about men, talking about trying to defend black women, when that's their way of talking shit about men. These men is talking about these. You see what these bitches are doing out here, man. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, so how these things are presented matters, because they looking for any, mediocre is good too. They're looking for anything and everything in order to try to like make us look bad, so they ain't got to deal with what they got to deal with. I keep telling y'all, man, that paternity fraud is coming. That's gonna be, I'm telling y'all, heard it first. That's gonna be reverse B2. That's gonna be reverse B2 right there. What that stuff, that momentum starts gaining. These chicks have no answer for paternity. They just don't, because they be lying. They have been lying. So it's going to be interesting in the next couple of years, man. Dang, man. I hope you get healthy, man. 3 weeks. I didn't know it was that bad. Yeah, let's pray for James, man, for real. I mean, you know, I stand behind the FBA concept, but at the same, I mean, I absolutely do. I'm unapologetic about that. But, like, look at what happened with this Essence Fest thing. But at the same time, I think dudes do too much FBA gangbanging and not enough. What are you doing? Like, what are you even, are people even like finding stories of certain stuff? Are you even doing the work of identifying certain people? Like the same women, let's take the women for example. The same women that have a problem about African women taking over the Essence Fest, to the extent that happened, are the same women that's going to support the Shade Room. The Shade Room is ran by a Nigerian, but y'all don't care about that because that's always throwing dudes under the butt. Not understanding that you essentially have someone that's not really a part of your culture. Imagine me making money on, like, you know, Igbos and Yorubas going at it. That wouldn't stand. But women don't never call that out, because that's who's gonna have to call out the Shade Room. Women support a lot of shit. All you got to do is be anti-black man and they'll support it. Not understanding where that's coming from, who you're funding. A lot of these women that fund your own fuckery don't even be a part of your culture, and black women don't notice until these chicks start calling out what African American women are doing, and then they get mad because now they the ones looking bad. Yeah, Fawcett. Yeah, that red pill. I hate to call him that. Jeff, the therapist, ask a brother. Oh yeah, that's the anti-FD. He can't, because that dude has the, we'll see, but that dude seems to have the emotional upgrade, the emotional intelligence upgrade. So now these women can't get mad without looking bad. Oh yeah. So dude, a lot of these panders don't have a lot of clips to go at them. So we'll see. We'll see. He said Jeff Sager. We'll see. My thing is, I ain't got no problem with people from other cultures. I'm the type of person that I actually had Pan-Africanist leanings, but the reality is Pan-Africanism cannot be a two-way street. That underhanded shit cannot happen, and I'm not holding any person that is not FBA to any standard that I don't hold FBA people. People that do what tethers do are called coons, and we were using the term coon far longer than we have ever used tether. The reality is black men get held accountable for dating outside their race. So the reality is, I don't like all this people hate immigrants. What I hear is people want to pass. That being said, I always put up Godfrey as a good example just to show I know the difference. That being said, all this FBA gangbanging that people are doing is just another trend. And people need to start, there's real work and real things that need to be done and support that needs to happen. Notice that you don't never see people that they be FBA gangbanging so much that they can solve this gender shit. So it's like, my thing is just like when people get mad about Trump. Yeah, Christian, I gotta send you some videos on him. He's done a video with Pearl. He's done a video on the Lapeef. Christian, his personal background is he is a certified therapist. I believe he has his own practice. I think he works for, like, he's degreed up. Basically, married to a black woman. Like, I gotta send you videos so you can catch him. But all the boxes have been checked and verified. Almost too much so. Yeah. So I don't need this, you get mad at somebody, you just call them a tether because you're upset. Because that tells me that's high school shit. Because understanding, my main thing with it, the people were only able to do this because we were lacking. We got caught lacking. And that's something that African Americans, black men and black women got to be honest about. And it's not about people being in certain positions. It's about, are you really serving our interests? I don't care if people are in positions. I'm not here to say, oh, well, you should be in that position because I said so, or because I think African men. No, my thing is, my first question is not where you're from. It's, are you serving our interests? And if the answer is no, okay, are you a coon or are you tethering? Because that will inform how I need to deal with you. Are you a simp? Are you a coon? Are you tethering? That's it. That informed, that's it. So I don't sit here, oh man, no, that's not how I look at it. Nobody gave a fuck about Dams and Idris. Everybody was cool here. I'm cool with John Boyega. But when them niggas start saying shit, whether it's Busta Rhymes, Akon, Busta Rhymes want to say something to defend Fat Joe of all people, you want to jump out the window for Fat Joe? That's who you want to jump out the window for? You didn't even jump out the window for a white man. Like, what are you talking about? And then it's never when they're, same thing with Tyler. Tyler's handlers, they didn't raid the room. All you had to say was you were mixed. That's it. In South Africa, we call it color, but I'm mixed. That's it. That's it. Black women have been good. Nah, you wanna make a statement over a fucking like, oh, well, y'all don't know about South Africa. We don't give a fuck. Y'all had to deal with apartheid. Y'all can't tell us shit. Nelson Mandela would have died in jail if it wasn't for African Americans really being on that ass. Y'all have fucking Elon Musk as president or some shit. Charlize Theron or some shit. I mean, she was literally born like right at the end of apartheid. And then they sitting here, and I blame her handlers. I don't even blame her. Her handlers are the ones that probably told her dumbass to do that. That's why Charlamagne got at her ass. I don't like Charlamagne. But shit, it's like, yo. And then she don't understand because the white people aren't going to push you because they trying to push Sabrina Carpenter and Billie Eilish. So you kind of came in at a weird spot. Then you got Normani, Bailey sisters. So you need to kind of get the black folks. You can't they were trying to go to Rihanna route. You can't go to Rihanna route because Rihanna kind of came up at a certain time. If you look at how Rihanna came up, they really didn't have, like, Britney Spears was like already on her decline. They didn't really have someone. Or Britney Spears was kind of in her prime, on her decline. Adele was kind of there, but Adele wasn't really a pop star. She was more of an R&B thing. So Rihanna was able to, Katy Perry was there. Katy Perry was never the it girl. She just kind of got big and they made money while she was there, but they never, Sabrina Carpenter is like the first chick that's like, okay, this is going to be the Britney Spears. This is going to be the chick, we're going to put a lot of it around, and then we're going to build like the new generation of pop shit around like her. And then Billie Eilish is going to basically be more of the Adele kind of shit. Exactly, Christian. So a lot of people, so she can't run that play. So they're not pushing you. So if you got to deal with black people, you got to deal with our politics. And if you want you're not going to do that, well, hey, it is what it is. Because my thing with Tyler is I get the vibe from her that she don't fuck with African Americans for real. And no matter how good her music is, fuck you and your music. I mean, you should take that shit to Europe. Her music is great. She can put hits out. But at the end of the day, her shit ain't like, it's very obviously African. The way she sounds, all of that. Rihanna is Caribbean, but it wasn't, you hear it, but it ain't like in your face like that. I mean, she can be pretty. The bitches don't care about that. Britney Spears wasn't, I don't really, Britney Spears, I mean, they about the same. Britney Spears got like that later as she got older. As she got like, her latter half of her career, she got like that. But her first 3 albums wasn't even like that. But she did that to maintain. Anyway. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, honestly, he don't need to be over here. Because he ain't going to tell us nothing we don't already know. He ain't going to tell us that we don't already know. I know where she comes from, Christian. I know where she comes from. And they did a good job at hiding it until the end. I'm talking about how her image was presented. And a lot of that extra sexual shit didn't come out until after her first 3 or 4 albums. He said, Fawcett Media said, yeah, FD had some video about being depressed. You need us to be angry about him doing videos to have any ammunition. Most people just ignore him. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because honestly, he said something that I don't believe. He said that his audience is mostly black. There's no way his audience is mostly black. I can tell by the type of video. He's basically what's going on in Blackville for liberals. That's what he gets paid to do. So he can be depressed. I mean, I don't know what he's depressed about. He got a kid, he married, he making YouTube money, which was unexpected. Tired ass fucking braids. Anyway, I don't know what he mad about. Selena Gomez musically wasn't all that. Selena Gomez made, I forget what she did making money, but it wasn't music. Yeah, I mean, I don't put Britney Spears with Madonna. I don't put, like, because the thing about Britney Spears is, like, Britney Spears is not going to stand the test of time like Madonna is. You know, Britney Spears is kind of, but she had her run. She definitely had her run. Britney Spears is not a legend. Madonna's like a legend. Britney Spears is not a legend. And I'm not hating on Britney Spears. It's kind of like Beyonce. Like Beyonce, I'm not, people get mad at me. Beyonce had a strong run, and Beyonce is, I don't know. I don't know if I'm there to say Beyonce is like a legend though. I don't know if I'm there yet. Well, I'm not talking about how similar people are. I'm talking about, because at the end of the day, Christina Aguilera will always be, the second, kind of second behind Britney Spears. Really. So a lot of these young white folks don't even know who Christina Aguilera is, to be honest with you. And Gwen Stefani, she was a artist, but she was kind of in, like, she was the top tier, but she wasn't in the top tier. Again, Pink is right there with Gwen Stefani. That's that kind of rock kind of shit. Like Halsey is kind of like that now. I mean, y'all niggas be like, you listen to white music. I mean, I used to Uber, so I listen to more. I know she is, but I'm just talking about, it's like comparing LeBron to like Russell Westbrook. Beyonce is not above Madonna. Beyonce is not in the test of time. Beyonce isn't gonna have the same kind. Beyonce is not above Madonna. Like when you think of the 80s, you think Madonna's one of the people you kind of think about. You don't. I mean, I'm not hating on. I like Beyonce, but Beyonce didn't really push the envelope. Beyonce sold music that people wanted. Beyonce rode trends, and even Corey Holcomb talked about this when he called Beyonce a hack. Beyonce rode trends and sometimes took people's dances. Madonna actually was like kind of low key ahead of her time, and a lot of the stuff, and the horror shit, and a lot of stuff she was doing. I mean, even look at that Like a Prayer song with Deadpool. I mean, I don't know a Beyonce song like 40 years from now. Remember, like, I don't know if Beyonce songs, like a lot of Beyonce songs, gonna be really getting played like that. They are played. Crazy in Love is played now, but I mean, like, in the zeitgeist of the book of the United States. He said, why? Because she black. I mean, if that's what you want to say, okay, but Diana Ross, it's a Shaka Khan. She's because if we go just based on Ja Rule, has sold more records than a lot of people. If we really want to just get off of just record sales and shit, hell, people don't give Nelly his credit, to be honest with you. Anyway, y'all. Yeah, I'll leave y'all with that. We started talking about fucking white music and shit. That's how you know it's time to end this. Anyway, with that being said, yeah, but Janet earned her spot. Janet earned her spot. Janet definitely earned her spot though. But yeah, and Janet and Beyonce would more be comparable because they both did straight pop music versus people like Anita Baker, like even technically Whitney Houston is like, to me, I put Whitney Houston. You gotta remember, like, volume is not always quality. And again, it's not about I'm hating on Beyonce, but I could probably argue with you, Whitney Houston got more songs that stand the test of time than Beyonce does. Beyonce just has volume. Drake has volume. But ain't nobody trying to say Drake is ever the best to do it. Well, R&B is dead because it's gotten too simplified, and they're not pushing R&B. They're really not. And today's generation is just too hoed out. So the romanticism is just not there anymore. Yeah, like a lot of people. So people, they just look at like her. They just look at her as like, you know, oh my God, she just been around so long and that's who you know. But nah, Beyonce, when you actually look at like a creative artistry with Beyonce, it's not there like that. Like she's got some albums that was like that, but Beyonce never really upset the apple cart too much. I mean, it's the same thing with Taylor Swift. Like if you put Taylor Swift in like the ocean that is music, you know, Taylor Swift ain't gonna be remembered like that, like that. You really think 30 years from now motherfuckers gonna give a fuck about Taylor Swift? Now they will probably give a fuck about Beyonce, but Taylor's, come on, like, for real though. Drake is not the best ever. Please, dude, please. Okay, yeah, we're ending. I'm telling you, go look at Ja Rule's sales. So sales is an indicator. It's not always the indicator. Understand 50 Cent too. Like if we just look at sales is not the only metric. It's an indicator. It's not the indicator though. And Beyonce is not Janet 2.0. And trust me, I got a lot of Beyonce songs I like, but it's not. It's a big part of the pie chart, but it's not the only part. It's not. But anyway, y'all, with that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.